What is up, guys? The patch that hit today changed the Triforce a fair bit, and I wanted to look at 8 champions that I think really benefit the most and are going to be super strong with it. Wit's End was also changed, and I've already said I think it's one of the most underrated items right now, so if you want a video similar to this one about champions that are best with that, then let me know, leave a comment, like this video, and if we could hit 5,000 ratings on this one, I'll stay up tonight and I'll make that one for tomorrow. Now, in case you weren't sure, the changes to Triforce were the cost down to 3733, a really weird number. I don't get why you do that, but whatever. The attack speed is up as well, cooldown reduction up, and the crit chance is removed. This might not seem like a lot, but I think on these 8 champions it really makes a big difference. And also, a friend of mine, Shakarez, did an article on the breakdown of this, so you can check that out too if you want a more in-depth look. The link will be down below. So let's go ahead and get the obvious ones out of the way first, then move on to the lesser known ones as we get into the video. Irelia is probably going to become pick or ban this patch now, just like a combination of everything rolled together. We're going to look at how the changes affect each of these champions, then we'll go into what it means for them. So the attack speed increase is perfect for her. Most of her damage is based around her auto attacks, her W, and some on-hit stuff as well, so it increases your damage by a lot. The cooldown reduction means more stuns, jumps, and W uptime. The crit was kind of wasted anyway, so we aren't really sad about that. Now, those are the 3 parts that were changed, but there's also other reasons these champions want to buy it. The sheen is probably one of the biggest parts to Triforce, really. Irelia uses this for more burst when diving in mostly. The Phage is also really good because it helps to stick to someone and use that W more, so they can't really run away from you. Now, the reason it's such a big deal is because Irelia wants 2 damage items then tank, right? Options are very limited to what those 2 items could really be, and Triforce was always the first one. Basically, what we're doing is we're making her stronger without costing her anything. She'd already have got this item anyway. There's no change needed in her build. It's just a straightforward upgrade. Normally, with any new build, there is a cost. Korean Lucian, right, loses crit and mana, for example, by not building the Essence Reaver, but Irelia doesn't lose anything, but she gains a lot. She becomes an insane tank killer with this. Also, still a weird kind of burst bruiser against carry targets as well, and just like fits in this general meta very well. Good matchup, strong early, and can go full tank after Triforce and then Blade, more or Wit's End. I'll be doing an example build, by the way, for every one of these champions. Now, obviously, I've not had the time to test all of these thoroughly, but this is what I'll be using to play and the kind of thing I expect to be good. Now, Jax is the other obvious one who also got a buff this patch, and most likely these 2 are going to dominate the top lane meta again. So the attack speed increase first. Again, a lot of your damage is based on auto attacks, mainly actually the more thumping passive damage from your ultimate. The cooldown reduction is actually very awkward to work into a normal build for Jax, but you get more jumps, more damage, and more stuns, and again, the crit is wasted. You're not building anything else with crit on it. The Phage is nice and everything, but the sheen is the biggest thing. You have a very consistent way to proc this with your W over and over in a fight, and you also get some burst damage with your Q leap at the very start as well. It's kind of the best of both. Jax has always kind of had this problem where you weren't exactly sure what to build. You kind of can build a bit of everything, but Triforce now gives him a ton of damage because he uses literally everything. Triforce is a mismatch of random stats thrown together and is very expensive, so normally it's how many of these can I use? Is it worth it? Can I justify the cost? And for Jax, the answer is yes, give me all of them. Now, Fizz is one that I don't think is as obvious, but could be really, really good. Like, I'm talking about the Irelia kind of level here. Now, this isn't mid Fizz, not really jungle Fizz. We're talking about bruiser top tank Fizz here, by the way. The attack speed, again, more damage from your W and on hit stuff in your build is very similar to Irelia in that way. The cooldown reduction means more hops. You have your W up more of the time, the ultimate more to get more kills, and again, like pretty much every other bruiser, the crit is wasted really. You're not building anything else with crit on it. The sheen on this is really good as well because you have a bunch of low cooldown abilities to proc it with. You have good burst and good sustained damage, a lot like Jax. We have to remember as well, on Triforce, the sheen damage is 200% base AD as bonus damage, but on the Iceborne, it's only 100%. Most top lane Fizz players will get Iceborne Gauntlet now so they can stick to their target, but Phage is going to help speed you up instead of slow them down, so it kind of replaces that a little bit. The attack speed is really, really helping with his damage. You max W on Bruiser Fizz, you have the passive damage plus the active, and that adds up to a lot of damage. The thing that separates him from most of the other picks is that he can literally just build this and then full tank afterwards. It's seriously insane. I think he's going to become very popular with this build now. So the first of my AD carries in this video, Vayne. Vayne with Triforce has always been okay. It makes her an amazing duelist and way more durable as well. Basically, it makes her better in a 1v1 situation. You have a bit more burst, you're tankier, and you still have a lot of damage. The problem was that it's very expensive and we didn't use a lot of the stats, but now it is way more tailored for us. So the attack speed, I don't think I even need to answer this one. More silver bolts means more damage. This is the first one where we're actually going to miss the crit a little bit. It was nice to have, but we didn't necessarily need it either. Infinity Edge is what we need to make crits really hurt on an AD, and that's very glass cannon, something we're not often able to get. Your Phage means better kiting. It's even harder to get onto you now as well, and actually just trading wise in lane with a Triforce is really good. For this, I'm thinking way more along the lines of Phantom Dancer into Triforce. That way we keep our attack speed, we do a ton of damage, and Triforce just kind of boosts that even more. This build will make it much harder to kill you, and that's kind of the point of it. This is the problem we have now. We're too easily killed before we can get off our damage. Vayne doesn't really fit too well into this meta of burst damage. She needs time, and this gives her more time, plus actually we need less time in the first place to kill someone. Now overall, it's a very expensive item, but it gives us more now, and it helps us be more well-rounded rather than just full damage glass cannon. Kayle is a pick that I asked Chakarez about, also known as Kaylebot, by the way, the diamond Kayle main who does a lot of theory crafting with me. Anyway, in his words, the new Triforce is insane. Well, actually, that's the safe version of what he said for this video. Attack speed is amazing on Kayle because almost all of your damage is from auto-attacking, so it's exactly what you want. Plus the CDR as well, more E uptime, more heals and slows. Crit is honestly just useless on Kayle, but we have the Sheen, that's a nice little damage boost. The Phage as well. It's a rare case when Phage is probably more valuable than the Sheen part. We kite easier and we chase better. Now, it's not just Triforce really. Getting a Nashor's first means that with these two items, you're capped at 40% cooldown reduction already. You have 90% bonus attack speed and a bunch of extra damage. Throw in a Rage Blade, a Rylai's, maybe a Wit's End, and you have yourself one broken champion. She's already strong right now. This probably made her even stronger, honestly, and I expect her to be played a ton or banned a lot. Now, Ezreal is my second AD carry on here, someone I actually am excited to try out a lot and see if it works as well as I think it might, and man, that sounded very nerdy. Oh well, this is replacing the Iceborne in blue build. We get the attack speed. It's not as amazing on others actually, but more persistent damage, and it's much better versus tanks as well. Cooldown reduction means more mystic shots. Honestly, this is a core stat on Ezreal. You really do need it. The Sheen is the reason we are actually replacing this though. So 100% base AD is bonus on Iceborne, remember, and 200% on Triforce. That means our poke is going to hurt even more. The Phage is also good because we get a speed up now, and it means we're actually very hard to catch. That's kind of replacing the slow part in Iceborne. With the Iceborne, we lose the slow with the armor and 250 mana basically, but with the Triforce, it's 1,000 gold more expensive, but we get more Sheen damage, the Phage, attack speed, and AD. Blue Ezreal is already really good, but sometimes that slow is not really needed, and we just want our poke to hurt even more. I think honestly they're going to be swapped out depending on the game. So if you need to kite more, you get Iceborne. If you need to kill tanks or you just want more damage, Triforce, and especially if you're ahead, Triforce is really good. So we're going to wrap up this video with two that I don't think will be as popular to start with, that you might be able to sneak in a few wins with before anyone realizes. Xin Zhao benefits a lot from the new Triforce. It's strange, I know, but in theory, he's one of the ones who benefits the most. He has no real core build at the moment. That's kind of why we don't see him very much. Nothing is majorly working. So on Triforce, the attack speed works both with his Q and W, more damage and more healing. Remember, every third hit now heals and automatically crits. That's a lot of damage. Cooldown reduction is not the best thing ever. It's kind of awkward to build normally as well, but we do get more bonus attack speed active on our W and more knockup, so it's definitely not bad. So for the other stuff, the Sheen, more burst to start a fight with, and late game we have low cooldowns, so we have that consistent damage output as well. The Phage is more sticking power, something we actually need a lot. We're able to chase down and it's harder to escape him. I've been trying Blood Razor Triforce into full tank. Now you're kind of squishy, kind of easy to kill at first, but you do a lot of damage. Once you add a few tank items into that, you become a monster though. Seriously, you'll do so much damage and you'll be very hard to kill. Xin has a lot of damage naturally packed into his kit. He just needs attack speed to kind of unlock it and enough defense to survive while doing it. Now he might not be top tier with this change to start with, but the item is practically perfect for him, and I definitely think it's going to be pretty good. Violet is the final one. I left her until last because I already mentioned her a little bit, but holy crap is she so strong with this new Triforce. The attack speed means more damage from your W passive, and you absolutely wreck tanks with this. Cooldown reduction is good because more ults, I guess, and you just more snowball, more ganks. The crit really wasn't used at all, so we're mainly looking at the Sheen and Phage. The Sheen is really good because you have a burst combo now, plus sustained damage with your E if you manage that cooldown correctly. The Phage is sticking power again. It helps you to stay near your target, which is very important for a melee auto attacker. Triforce on Vi is literally the perfect item right now. It's expensive, and that is the biggest problem, but if you can afford it and you're ahead, you will demolish people with it. There are two options really, so Warrior or Cinderhulk into Triforce. Warrior is way more aggressive early, probably a one-shot on AD carry in a single rotation with your Sheen once you add that in there. Cinderhulk, your ganks are still good, but you don't have as much damage and you're way more durable. This is really good when you have to engage with your ultimate for your team. Your Triforce still still lets you be a threat and a big one as well. Just because you have a Cinderhulk does not mean you can't 1v1 the enemy AD, because you can, and it's horrible. Anyway, there we go. 8 of the strongest champions with the new Triforce. Let me know if you want one for Wits End for tomorrow. Remember to like, subscribe, comment, and share, but let's go to the robots.